energy production, but oil and gas in particular, it's extremely hard work. And the men and women that are working in this industry are good, good people. They're good Americans. And to constantly be demonizing the industry as a whole, this broad stroke demonization of all of us, it's not only irritating, it's wrong.
I'm Arthur Stewart. I started Cameron 36 years ago. We drill conventional oil and gas wells. We produce natural gas. We serve 15,000 households and schools. And then our oil is made into lubricating products or into things that you use every day, such as things in the hospital, the plastics in the hospital, cosmetics, even things that go into food. This is my son-in-law, Tyler Martin.
Yeah, and I do all of our environmental work, so I'm our environmental care coordinator. I've worked for Cameron for 10 years now. I do all of our mapping. I do our interaction with regulatory agencies, surface owners. I lay out our wells, a host of different jobs that I do there, wear many different hats. And I want to emphasize, too, that a lot of people just associate our oil with energy. But to Arthur's point, we need to talk about the products that are produced, because we need to put engine oil in our cars just as much as we need to put gasoline.
My name is Gabriella Hoffman. I'm director of Independent Women's Forum Center for Energy and Conservation. And overall big picture has to be accomplished is permitting reform. This is a bipartisan concern. You see this all across the board. There have been various different efforts. More recently, the effort from Senators Barrasso and Manchin to really expedite the permitting process. What people do not understand, and what's frustrating to a lot of people, whether you're a supporter of oil and gas and nuclear, or even if you're a solar and wind proponent, the lack thereof permitting reform is blocking these projects, all energy projects, for instance, from going online, from even taking off in general. It takes on average 7 to 9 years for an energy project to be developed, surveyed, constructed, to becoming fully operational. And that is unacceptable.
Tyler talks about how we're hardworking, and we are, but it's more than that. What's a slap in the face is the people who complain the loudest about fossil fuels are oftentimes the people who are lapping it up the most greedily. You're flying in your own personal jets. You're using nothing other than our oil. When you have multiple large homes, when you live in a city that relies on us for your heat, for the delivery of your food and everything else that you're living on, and yet somehow folks don't make the connection that all comes from energy. We always get upset when folks refer to clean energy, because we are clean energy in the oil and gas business. We have over almost 2,000 wells here in northwestern Pennsylvania, where we have the cleanest water in the state. We operate on the Allegheny National Forest. The recent study there talked about how clean that water is, and our wells are right in proximity to those high quality streams. The truth is, any harvesting of energy, whether it's a solar panel or windmill or oil and gas, has an impact on the environment. And you have to think of the birds that are killed by windmills. Everything has an impact, and it's simply ignorant and uninformed to not realize that.
If the United States was to say, we're done producing natural gas and we have to import that, it's either coming in liquefied or coming in a pipeline from Canada. And that costs energy, that costs money, and of course it sacrifices jobs in the United States, but we need to produce it locally in order to help with inflation, because it's going to be cheaper that way.
You don't know the pressure. We have 55 employees. The pressures of worrying about the paycheck every 2 weeks are enormous. And with the inflation, we're suffering with inflation just like everybody else. And it's a business killer. There's just no other way to say it. And so the worries we have about this election are unbelievable.
I think a lot of people, much like with not knowing where their food comes from or not knowing who funds the bulk of conservation, largely hunters and anglers in this country, I think there is a divide, and I think there's a deficit between both parties, especially those on the left, not understanding how electricity is produced. They don't understand baseload power. All the derivatives, all the intermediaries, and especially consumers will see less energy costs, cheaper electricity bills, cheaper gas pump prices, if more domestic energy is harnessed and allowed to be unleashed in a true fashion, not this stay in the ground, keep everything in the ground in perpetuity philosophy that we see under net zero under Biden-Harris. And so naturally, you'll see costs go down because life is downstream from energy, and energy is so integral to all facets of life. Directly, indirectly, through intermediaries, consumers feel the impacts, the negative impacts of net zero energy policy. So they're going to be unburdened by what has been with more harnessing of domestic energy, whether it is conventional oil, gas, and coal, or even something as exciting and as revolutionary truly on the clean energy space like nuclear.